Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Andrew Musgrove here. Hope you guys are doing well. Hit thumbs up, hit subscribe on the channel. Just a real quick video to look back on a fantastic win for Newcastle United up at St James's Park, 3-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wasn't a game that will live long in the memory. Really, looking at the stats, it could have been very, very different. Newcastle took their chances, Wolves didn't. But what we did see was history being made on 2 counts. Alexander Isak becoming the first Newcastle United player to net in 8 consecutive Premier League games. Meanwhile, Newcastle United equal a record, and that record is 9 consecutive wins in all competitions. Newcastle United are just in fine form. Momentum is with them. They're on a wave of positivity, a wave of optimism. And even though they didn't necessarily play brilliantly, a Wolves side down at the bottom fighting for their lives, who have that new manager bounce, couldn't find a way through Newcastle United. The scoreline probably doesn't tell the full story. Some might not agree with that. Let me know what you think in the comments. You know, I can see an argument from some that say Newcastle United were never in danger. They deserved to win that game. And look, when you score 3 goals, you certainly do. But if you actually look at the stats, it was a lot closer of a game than maybe the scoreline suggests. For example, if you look at the XG, Newcastle United 1.93 and Wolves 1.45. And Wolves actually had more shots on target with 7 to Newcastle's 5. 17 shots overall for Newcastle United and 13 for Wolves. And Wolves did have their chances, and the difference was that Newcastle United took theirs and Wolves didn't. And that's probably one of the main points you take away from the game, is that this Newcastle United is doing what they didn't do a few months ago. We all think back to maybe that game against Brighton when they just couldn't take their chances and ended up losing 1-0. Massive frustration, especially when you look at how the table is now. Those 3 points would have Newcastle United very nearly in a title race. But anyway, that's the past. But you do look back at that kind of section of time this season and Newcastle United just not taking their chances, wasting their chances. Whereas now, this Newcastle United side, the ball goes to whoever and you are betting it ends up in the back of the net. And when you've got a striker in form like Alexander Isak, what a player he is. We knew he was very, very special pretty much as soon as we saw him in black and white. But the past few weeks, oh my goodness me. I tell you what, if Arsenal want him, you can't afford him, because he's going to cost you, forget 150 million, 200 million just to get the conversation started. And you know what? I'm going to make a prediction now. Newcastle United to get Champions League this season, hopefully win the League Cup, and Alexander Isak stays and fires Newcastle United on to even higher achievements next season. He looks like a man who is dead happy. He's getting the service, he's getting the freedom, he's playing with a smile on his face, and he's banging the goals into the back of the net. 17 for the season now. And you know, tonight gets maybe a little bit lucky with a deflection, but it was going in, so it's his goal. And then it's a really nice finish for a second. But what about the pass from Bruno for Alexander Isak's second goal, to pick him out with such a short distance, and then Alexander Isak, one touch turn, bang, back of the net, doesn't even look at the goal, he just knows where it is. It's a really nice goal, highlights the beauty and ability of Bruno Guimaraes to pick the pass. He's just looking better and better now. He's been given that freedom as Tonali sits as the anchor man. And then just the beauty of Alexander Isak in front of goal. He's just unstoppable. He's unplayable. And look, he could have had a hat-trick tonight. He probably should have done. He kind of dilly-dallied just after he got the second goal. Didn't pull the trigger as quick as he should have done. And then, obviously, he decides to pass the ball and Gordon gets a goal when maybe he would have gone for that himself for his hat-trick. But then, look, it shows a great team player, doesn't it? That he's not thinking about the hat-trick, he's thinking about the easiest way for Newcastle United to add to the tally. And it was an important goal, the third goal. Gordon with it. You know, Wolves were threatening. Martin Dúbravka had to make a really good save midway through the second half. There was a chance from Kuna that was fired wide. I think we had one over the top as well. You know, Newcastle didn't have it all their own way. And I think if Wolves score later on and it's 2-1, maybe there's a little bit of nerves creeps in and a little bit of frustration that Newcastle United didn't make their own dominance play. Third goal, though, really gives them that breathing space. And that's the importance about being at your clinical best, because, you know, even if you concede one, you're not too concerned. 2-0 lead is always a bit risky. 3-0, though, you know, you're still looking like you're going to be home and dry. I think Eddie Howe will be slightly disappointed maybe with some elements of the defensive display, you know, because Wolves at times opened Newcastle United up. They had several chances. We said 7 on target. I don't think he'll be too happy with that, but nice to see Martin Dúbravka have his gloves warmed. I think that will be key, because a lot of people have said, oh, what happens when Martin Dúbravka is tested? Well, tonight, there was one particular save that was absolutely excellent. It looked like he pulled his hamstring, stretching out to put it wide. But a great save from him, and that will really boost his confidence. You know, after the game against Bromley, I was like, he's definitely staying. But tonight, he didn't look as sure or as confident. He looked a little bit down in the dumps again. So I wonder if we're going to maybe get an update in the next few days. I think he will stay now. I know it's not done and dusted, but I think he will stay. I think he's really earned his spot, earned his chance in net, and it means Nick Pope doesn't have to rush back. So I think he will stay. What was really good to see tonight as well is that Eddie Howe had squad depth, and he used his subs really well. You had Kieran Trippier coming on for Livramento, you had Miguel Almiron coming on, Lewis Miley, Joe Willock, and William Masula, bringing off key players like Gordon, like Murphy, like Alexander Isak, giving them that rest ahead of another big game on Saturday against Bournemouth. This will be a huge test because of a very, very good side at Bournemouth. But thankfully, Eddie Howe had the opportunity to bring those key players up. Not only obviously replace them and use that squad depth, but replace them with decent players as well, who should be chomping at the bit to make a real statement to Eddie Howe. Look, it's hard when you're 3-0 up and just trying to see the game out. It's hard to leave your mark. It really, really is. And I don't think any particularly did. No, not really. I mean, Lewis Miley, probably the standout of the substitutions, got a bit of running about him, could have had a shot from midway in his own half when the keeper lost it, but he decided to pass it. But again, no one stand out, but the job was done. They didn't need to stand out, they just needed to see the game out. Man of the match, let me know in the comments. I'm going to go for Sandro Tonali. He's just running the show. He's getting better in every single week. And there was an instance towards the end of the game where he makes a dart for it down the right, skips past the left back, tries to put the ball in the box. It's blocked. Wolves try and bring it up the pitch. And who chases back to win the ball? Mr. Sandro Tonali. He is bloody brilliant. And he's allowing Bruno to flourish. Joe Linton's becoming better. You know, he's just brilliant. And also the back line looks much more assured with him there. Another top performance from him. But I thought Bruno had a good game. As we say, a beautiful pass for Alexander Isak. It was between Bruno and Tonali for me. I know Isak gets 2 goals, but I'm sick of people getting man of the match for scoring goals. You know, that's what you paid to do. You know, let's look about a deeper analysis of who should get man of the match. But let me know in the comments. For me, it's Sandro Tonali. He was brilliant, but Bruno, as I said, great, and Tonali obviously with the 2 goals. We roll now onto Saturday, early kick-off against Bournemouth, another game at home, another sellout crowd. Hopefully Newcastle can continue the fantastic run they're in, go for 10 wins in all competitions. Alexander Isak might break, well, not going to break the record for Premier League goals scored overall, because Alan Shearer has that. I think it's 148, but he's one off now, equaling Peter Beardsley, equaling Callum Wilson on 47. He's one off. So he'll be gunning for that. I think he'll get it before the month's out in the Premier League, and obviously then he can have Shearer in his sights. It'll probably have to mean he'll stay for a decade, but hey, if he wants to stay for a decade and chase that record, I'm all for that. But brilliant from Alexander Isak. Another record, if you want to call it that, within his grasp, and you know, to be in the conversation with the likes of Peter Beardsley, above Les Ferdinand, above Andy Cole, and obviously in the conversation with Callum Wilson. Absolutely brilliant from the man. Brilliant performance tonight. Newcastle United up to 4th, going really well, continuing that momentum. Great to see. I'll be back tomorrow with John Gibson. Thank you very much for watching. Hit thumbs up and hit subscribe.